Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Living Your Learning podcast. And we have a really special guest. Well, all of our guests on the special guest sessions are really special, but our special guest today is particularly special because she is coming from, get this, everybody. So no pressure, special guest, but is coming from the other side of the planet, New Zealand. The LOL podcast has literally gone global. So very, very excited to welcome Sabrina today from New Zealand. How are you, Sabrina?
Good. Kia ora. How are you?
I'm very well and so happy to have you here. Obviously, we've known each other for a good few years now. We have family ties. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah. Pamela is my cousin. So yes, I literally have known her all my life. So yeah, full disclosure of the family tie.
And it's not that you're having special treatment because of that. The reason you are on the podcast today, because, well, you are, and I do see what you're doing on LinkedIn. You are absolutely crushing it in New Zealand. You have your own business, don't you? So just want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, obviously I came over to New Zealand about 20 odd years ago. And I've now been in business for 11 years. I have my own virtual assistant agency. So that's where we work with a lot of startup and scale up businesses when they are really under the pump and they're kind of just feeling the pressure. They can't manage everything themselves. And so I have a team that are throughout New Zealand, and we literally go in and support those people through that kind of, as I said, startup, scale up, and in that growth phase. Normally past growth phase, they're normally employing people into certain roles, especially in that admin sector, but we're there in that transition. And it's just amazing to kind of be part of that kind of the economy here in New Zealand and also the different culture that's here. So that's what I do over here. 11 years. I can't believe that's been so quickly.
Oh, 11
And yeah, I've been
years.
following you guys for a while. So this is a real honor to be part of this.
Thank you. And just a quick one. You don't support people in the UK, do you? Because it sounds like I could do a bit of that as well.
Funnily enough, a lot of our team are actually expats, which is quite funny. And we have actually in the past and we've actually got some connections in the UK. So what works really well for us in that regard is obviously while you guys are sleeping, we are working. So it's worked really well for some organizations where they literally wake up in the morning and a lot of their actual admin and inbox and kind of tasks is already completed. And they can literally start the day with all of knowing that all of that was happening while they were asleep. So it works really well with the time difference actually for us being in New Zealand, and we have a very similar work ethic.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so that's worked really well.
Maybe we should talk offline because I could definitely do with a bit
Yeah.
of that.
Absolutely.
That sounds amazing. Okay, so I know there's a few things that you want to chat about, but I've got a few questions for you as well, which I'd really love to get your thoughts on. So all of our special guests that come on the special guest sessions, I always ask them one question to start things off. So this is called the Living Your Learning podcast. And I would just love to know, and I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here because you did not know I was going to ask this, but
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
the phrase living your learning, what does that mean to you?
I was just literally thinking quite a few things kind of come up. I mean, from obviously running a business perspective, trust and loyalty has definitely kind of come through just when you're thinking about that kind of question. But also, as we kind of discussed a little bit about that kind of resilience piece. So for me, it's really important to kind of just keep going and really trust yourself and just kind of just back yourself, and I suppose for me that kind of living your learning is definitely around that kind of piece for me. There are hard times in business, we've all had it, where we just want to kind of like throw the towel in and just be like, why are we doing this? Let's just go and get a job. But for me, just having that push through and that resilient piece and trust in yourself, it has really been quite huge for me, and just the growth of the organization has really kind of benefited for me having that and practicing it, I guess.
Brilliant. So has resilience been your biggest piece of learning since you've been in business yourself?
100%. I mean, there's times when, challenges come at you, and they come at you when you're at your highest point in business, and they come at you when you're in your lowest point of business. And I think it's just having that resilience to as I said, to kind of keep moving forward. The last, I would say, 8 to 12 months for a lot of people has been really hard, especially here in New Zealand. I'm sure you
It
felt it in
has,
the
yeah.
UK as well. And so, like, the economy's not been great, and there's been a lot of businesses that unfortunately have had to close their doors.
That's right.
So I'm very fortunate that, the service that we offer is still needed and that people are still investing in that area of their business. But it's just that absolute tenacity of going, I'm not going to give up. This is a service that people want, regardless of what you're giving them or the product, and just really pushing through and just trusting the processes that you've put in place, trust the reason of why you started business in the first place. And just kind of, just really backing yourself is the only way I can kind of describe it, really.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. So I've been in business 8 years, and I would say, yeah, the resilience thing is so important. And the other thing you reminded me of as well, which is about just keep moving forward. Is I don't know if you've seen the film Rocky Balboa. So it's Rocky Six. Don't know if you've seen any of the Rocky films,
They
but
did
Rocky,
6 of them?
yeah, and Six is a belter. But anyway, he's having a conversation with his grown-up son, and his grown-up son is saying, "You shouldn't come out of retirement. You shouldn't be doing this," and blah 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 blah. And I'm probably going to embarrass myself now because I'm probably going to try and do the quote. But he said, "Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me,
Yeah.
or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done."
Love that. That's
Isn't
so
it
good.
amazing? And I did
That's
it
so
so
good.
well. I did the whole thing.
It's like you rehearsed it, but you didn't. I love it.
I know it's like I'm Rocky. But you know what? I have that video clip saved on my phone, and in those really really tough times, I go to that quote, I go to that video because that's how you keep going. It's by getting up and going again and trying something different and going again. And if that doesn't work, going again. I mean, like you, I can't count the amount of plans I've written and ripped up and rewritten.
100%. Like, and there's always iterations. And I'm really thankful and very kind of fortunate that I've got quite a good kind of mentorship around me. So I
So
have like
important.
a business coach, and I have someone that obviously is guiding me in that leadership piece, which is very similar to what you guys do over here in New Zealand. And there's always that element of going, just because it failed once doesn't mean it's going to fail again. You just need to rework it. It might not have been the right time. It might not have been the right platform. It might not have been the right message. So there's that element of kind of just understanding that natural growth, I suppose. And it normally is like iteration number 24 that actually hit home. You've just got to trial stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And it's quite funny. One of the quotes when you were saying about obviously Rocky, one of my kind of quotes that I always go back to is there's a round table of actors, and it's Tom Hanks, and he's literally going, "This too shall pass." He's like, "Do you think
Yeah.
you know it all and you've got everything in control? This too shall pass. You're really struggling and you feel like you can't keep moving. This too shall pass." And that for me has definitely been a absolute statement and quote that I kind of refer back to. And yeah, for me, it's business is like a kind of a wave. It's going to go out and it's going to ebb and flow and it's going to come back again. It's a natural progression. And it's just understanding that. And that's where I think business owners itself, and it's something that we try to do with a lot of businesses that we deal with, is really just looking at your metrics as well and just going, okay, what is the seasonality of your business?
Yeah.
And unfortunately or fortunately, what you did this time last year ain't going to work this year because things have changed. The economy is changing. And so it's understanding those metrics, but also having the fluidity to be able to ebb and flow with what's actually happening out there for you. What are your customers seeing? What are they wanting? Have their pains changed that you're answering? And just kind of flowing with that. So I think again that kind of comes back to that resilient piece, but also trusting your gut and as you say, just kind of understanding that we're all going through it and you're not on your own. And hopefully you have great mentors around you to kind of support that.
Amen to everything you just said there. Literally, a- Sabrina, absolute gold. Just gold. I mean, what amazing advice. And do you know what? As you're saying that, I'm actually applying it to my own business and I'm applying it to my clients' businesses. And it's just so, so true. Absolute gold. That was, yeah, just amazing. Do you know what I'd really love to know is why did you start your business?
It literally was by chance, actually. A very good friend of mine over here, he was a chef and amazing at what he did, like such an amazing chef. Boy, was he awful at admin, like just couldn't put an invoice together for the life of him. And just and I just saw that all of my background has come from marketing and just basically being that kind of support person. I've worked in a lot of advertising agencies, and I just was like, hey, you need to get your brand on point to start with. So that's how I started helping him. I was extremely heavily pregnant with my first child. And so I literally was like, look, I'm not working at the moment. Let me help you. And then I just saw this absolute need for those people that are growing a business and they are amazing at what they do. And they probably didn't start a business to be up at 9 o'clock at night doing admin and emails. They started it to go and do what they love doing and what they're passionate about. And so that's kind of how that seed was grown, really. So I really started working with him. I was with him for like, 6, 7 years. And it was just an amazing experience to kind of grow with him in that. And then as I started networking and meeting more businesses that were in that space, then yeah, the business just kind of took off in that natural, organic way, really. And then obviously brought the team in as those skill sets were needed. Because like most businesses, you get to a stage where you're going, okay, I'm at capacity,
Yeah,
but I'm now having to say no, and the sales are coming in. I don't want to do that.
yeah,
So
totally.
how can I extend this? Let's get some more people in that are like-minded and have the same
Amazing.
values as me and kind of grow that way. So but yeah, that's how the business originally started. Yeah, we just kind of kept growing from there.
What do you love about what you do?
I'm definitely a people person. And I love
That
being
runs in the
able to
family then.
hold must run in the family, mustn't it? And I love the ability to be able to hold space for businesses to grow and to connect. And so that for me was a real kind of driving passion kind of point in that. As a sideline, outside of obviously of the agency that I've got, I do also have Business Collective, which is a networking business. And so that's where
Amazing.
again I'm facilitating like those networking sessions and meeting a whole bunch of like that SME kind of startup scale up businesses. And so yeah, for me, it was really going, I've got skills that other businesses need. Let's go help them. And for me, it was kind of a little bit of a pay it forward. And if we all help each other out, then we're all going to kind of, rise to the top kind of situation. So that was the kind of, yeah, I suppose the rationale behind doing it, as well as having the flexibility. Like, I really want to be able to support mostly mums who are part of my team that want that work life balance and want to be there for their families and children, but also don't want to not use the amazing skill sets that they've got. So that was another angle for me of why the business started.
Lovely. I absolutely love that. What are your core values for your business? So what really sets you apart? What determines how you go about things in your business? Because I think values are really, really important for any business.
Yeah, 100%. And look, they've definitely changed over time. And I think that if you have a business, it's good to kind of evolve with some of your values because they will kind of change. I think the bottom line for us is that we are very loyal. Loyalty is a massive value for me personally, but also within the business. Really authenticity, like real clear communication, being really open to, what we're doing and obviously how we're kind of performing, I guess, and how we're helping people. And outside of that, like I'm just trying to like we have this thing which is good. So we're called Good Line. And so the good pretty much stands for like genuine, and then we've got open communication, and then we've got opportunity. So we're really open to new opportunities that are coming our way. For our sector, AI is massive, and I'm definitely trying to be a bit of a trailblazer in doing that here in New Zealand. And then the D is really kind of like determination and that kind of dedication to the clients that we're working with. So that's the kind of structure that we kind of work with them.
Just run me through those four again.
You're going to say that. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. So G was genuine. So we like to be like genuine with
Yeah.
what we do. Well, first O is open communication.
Yeah.
So we're very transparent with what we provide to clients and with our billing, etc. The other O is opportunities. So we always
Yeah.
look to opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
And then the D was determination and also dedication. So we're very dedicated to the businesses that we are aligning with. We're slightly different from a, here's a list of tasks, go do it, clock off. We are more intrinsically involved in all the businesses that we work with. We're actually really part of their team and part of their growth journey. And so we're really invested in that.
That's amazing. I actually do a lot of values work with businesses and organizations, so helping them to identify and create and kind of bring to life their organizational or business values. And I have to say that is one of the best sets of values I've ever seen, Sabrina.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
No, seriously. And I think anyone listening, particularly, business leaders, business owners out there, that thing around being genuine and authentic, that open communication. I personally think that communication is the key to everything that you do, everything. That opportunity for growth, that dedication and determination. Wow, if that's not a blueprint for running a business, for being a business, I don't know what is. That is seriously good. I love
I
it.
don't know what to say. I'm speechless. It's very, very. It's funny, isn't it? Because when you're in business, you're so used to, especially as a person that's got a team in that leadership, you're so used to giving praise and giving kind of that element to other people that when it starts coming back your way, you're a bit like, oh, thanks.
I honestly, I'm sorry to embarrass you, but honestly, wow, they are so, so powerful. Do you have an absolute non-negotiable in terms of a value or a behavior within your business?
I think if you're not trustworthy from a team's perspective, that loyalty piece and trust has been a real, I think, thing for me through the journey. And trust me, I've been burnt, and got my hand bit a few times, but I've learnt through that. My ear is now tuned in to hearing those elements where I don't think people are going to be with us as a team for the long run. If it's like, oh, we just want a short term fix, I'm like, I'm sorry, we're not your people.
Yeah,
We want you to grow with us. We want you to, have all of that. From a client perspective, I think it's probably just that kind of honesty piece. It's quite amazing how we will go into a business and we'll start opening Pandora's box and discovering a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't know was there. And just that real, again, that authentic kind of element of it. It's like, okay, you weren't genuine when you said this was where you were at, or you're not being genuine in business. That's a real kind of bottom line for me. Like if you're not following best practices and you're not being good with your team and you're not being honest with your clients, and we're seeing that, we're going to be probably exiting stage left, because that's
yeah.
not how business should really be run, especially in this kind of current climate and in this day and age as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. And again, just looking over these words that you've described, being genuine, open communication, really looking for those opportunities and that growth, that dedication and determination, the trust, loyalty, and honesty. Not only is it a blueprint for business and having a successful business, but it's also a blueprint for having a great team, whatever that looks like, whether it's in business, whether it's a community team or a sports team or whatever. But the other thing that's coming to mind, and another thing that we talk about a lot on the podcast, is leadership as well.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if you realize what you've put together here, but it's literally blowing my mind, Sabrina. Is literally, if you were to describe what it takes to have a great team or a great business, or what leadership is really all about, all of these words would be in that mix without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely phenomenal. Really, really great. So, for all, well, whoever's listening, business owners, leaders, whoever, yeah, really think about what your values are and what your non-negotiables are, what it means to be a team, what it means to serve your clients, what it means to be a business, or what it means to be a leader, because it's really important that you do the right things in the right way. Because going back to your point on resilience, Sabrina, that's the stuff that gets you through, isn't it? doing the right things consistently. And you might think, Joe, what, this is not working. So I've got to take a shortcut, or I've got to do something I wouldn't want to normally do or like to do. But no, because it will jump up and bite you on the backside in a massive way. I believe in the universe. It'll come back round. And it
100%.
really will, but it's doing this real good stuff consistently. And as you said before we came on, which I wrote down as well, laying those seeds. You might not see it now, but you will in 6 months, you will in a year. In fact, I've coached people who have been, maybe struggling, results wise or numbers wise. And we've talked about, okay, what are the non-negotiables? What are the great things you absolutely have to do consistently? Well, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Basically all the stuff we've been talking about, and putting that work in. And if it's not working, okay, adapting, tweaking, changing it up, going again, and slowly but surely doing it. And they're saying, Craig, it's not working, I'm going to give up. No, keep going, pick yourself up, go again, go again, go again. And those very same people, 6 months, a year later, are absolutely smashing it.
And it's really funny because we saw it, and I'm sure you guys did as well, like during COVID. Can we
Yeah.
even say that word now without
I
everyone kind
know.
of having like a flinch?
It's like a
Jack?
bad dream, wasn't it?
Like during COVID, we definitely saw here in New Zealand that the businesses that were kind of sitting on the fence,
Yeah.
not really quite sure what was going to happen, and kind of waiting for everyone else to kind of make a move, they didn't really survive. The ones that were going, you know what, it's another day, keep going, and just adapting. The P word that we all hated hearing, which was pivoting.
Yeah.
Over that time, if I heard that one word one more time, I think I was going to probably just go nuts. But but it was true. It was all those people that just kept it going, like kept that pedal, down, and the accelerator just going in the direction that they were wanting to go. As I just said, like literally the last 8 to 10 months has been not great for a lot of businesses, and it's definitely been hitting home in New Zealand. But I really have seen, like from myself personally, I laid so many seeds late last year or mid to late last year. And I just was like, I don't know when this is going to come to fruition, but I'm just going to keep doing it. And I'm now seeing it come to fruition. And conferences that I went to, like I really deep dived into the AI space, like kind of early to mid, kind of late last year. And I was networking with a whole different, obviously, people and group of people and organizations and stuff. And all of that learning that I've now gathered over that time has come to fruition. Like I'm literally just about next week to do a whole entire kind of webinar about how EAs are using AI. And so all of that learning that I gathered and was kind of like, was just kind of processing, has now come through because I was networking within those areas. So look, although it is hard to kind of just keep going, it is hard to kind of get yourself out there. But honestly, the results just are tenfold if you just keep moving forward and you just trust your gut and trust your processes and trust your business model that you have, and it will come through and it will start shining again for you. Like even now in New Zealand, we're definitely seeing a lot of optimism back in the market.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe not around some people that are trading with the US, but we won't mention that at the moment. But there's a little bit of what's going to happen. But in general, in business, like we're having our OCR is kind of dropping. Like there's all these elements that are assisting that kind of additional cash flow happening within the market, which is definitely making people go out and look at things differently and get those services that they need and invest in areas where they need to for their business and personally, which is great to see.
Yeah, no, 1,000,000%. Because, and it's actually very similar, well, it is for me anyway, here in the UK arenas.
Yeah.
And all a little bit weird, to be honest with you. And there's all the stuff that's going on on at the moment. And I'd be a liar if I said that stuff doesn't worry me, it doesn't scare me. But the one thing that I've realized, even just speaking to you, but I've really started to think about over these past few days, is that stuff ain't going to go away. I can't change it. What I can do and what I can control is my response to it. What I can do is tweak my plans. What I can do is try something different. What I can do is not be afraid to put myself out there and go, hey, I've got this thing as well. Come and try it out. Come and look at it. And you know what? It might not work. People might not want it, but then I'll tweak it and I'll try again and I'll try something else. The bit we can control is ourselves and how we respond, isn't it?
100%, 100%. And it's quite funny. Like, I was, while you were saying that, I was just thinking about my little one. So my little one has ADHD, and he was diagnosed a good few years ago now. So we are very much into that journey. And the one thing that we're constantly teaching him is how he can respond to certain situations. And it is so very true in business as well. So how you present yourself and how you respond to good and bad situations in your life and in business is all to do with you, kind of your input or output, depending on how that kind of goes. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, it really is you as the business owner and you as the leader of a team. You're the one that the buck stops with, and you're the one that also is where the energy comes from, and the values come from, and the growth comes from, or the learnings come from. You just have to kind of, your reaction has such a ripple effect on your team. So
It
you
does.
have to be really aware of that. I had a great, sorry, excuse me, I had a great kind of semi business tip from someone in my networking group where he was just like, keep your own, excuse my French, shit in your own backpack.
Yeah.
Like, people don't need to know everything, but at the same time, just don't tell them everything, because it's going to have such a, like a ripple effect through your team. So there's elements like that as well.
Yeah, but on the other side of the coin, when the scary stuff is happening and you're all up against it, as a leader, whether that's a team, a business, or whatever, that's when the leader needs to stand up and go, right, this is happening. We can't ignore it. And do you know what? I'm worried about it. Right, what can we do? What ideas have we got?
Yeah,
How are we going to move forward? How are we going to navigate around this? That's what we need. That's what we need right now. We need to find a way around it, because that craziness that's going on in the world at the moment, I don't think is going to be fixed anytime soon. But as you said, it's like waves, isn't it? And you've just got to learn to ride the wave. When you're at the top of the wave and it's all going good, you still got to be doing the right things, but it's what you do when you're at the bottom of the wave and what you do to come back up on the other side, for me, that makes a difference. And then when you add in your values and your non-negotiables, um, like the ones you described, that's what starts to set you apart, isn't it? And that's what
100%.
really drives you forward. You know where you're heading, your vision, and you've got these values, these behaviors that are going to help get you there. And it's confronting things and going, right, okay, this is happening. What can we do about it? Who's got an idea? So yeah, that stuff is super important for me. Super, super important.
Yeah, 100%. And look, there's going to be times in business, and I've definitely had it. Look, I've had I think the team at one stage when we were in a massive growth phase got up to like 20. We're down now to 8, but that's for a very strategic reason, but also due to the economy. And look, it's ebbed and flowed, ebbed and flowed. It's hard when you're going through that, because you're like, am I failing because I've now got less team, or what's going on, or what have I done wrong? And there's so many. Unfortunately, we have a lot, and it's definitely here again in New Zealand. I'm sure it's the same in the UK, where a lot of leaders will definitely have that kind of imposter syndrome coming through. Should I be doing this? Am I the right person to do this? Do I know enough? Are people going to want to listen to me? And look, I've had that myself as well. Through different phases of my kind of business growth. But yeah, it definitely is it's a moving beast. And I think we've got to move with it as the business owners, as well as the leaders and the team, and just give that support. I mean, we can see with what's happening, in a different country, how sometimes bad leadership can have such a massive ripple effect.
Yeah,
And we're seeing that play out right now, where people don't really know what's going on, and they haven't been informed of what's happening and what's happening over here. And, so yeah, I think it's really important to just be, as a leader, be really kind to yourself,
yes,
and just trust your gut, and not beat yourself up if it's not going as you planned, because as we said earlier, reiteration, 24 going to be the one that hits the mark.
it will.
So
Yeah. And if anyone wants a reason why bad leadership is just wrong and shouldn't happen, just look at what's happening in the world, everyone. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned something really interesting there, imposter syndrome, and it's something that I talk a lot about with various people I work with. Do you have any? And I've definitely, suffered from it. Still suffer from it. Thinking literally, I have no clue what's going on right now. You know, yeah, and all of that stuff. So, do you have any top tips for people, whether they're a leader, a business owner, whatever, or for when they have imposter syndrome?
Oh, I don't know if I necessarily have top tips because it's definitely more of, I think, a personal experience that you go
Yeah,
through.
yeah, that's fair.
And I think a lot of our imposter syndrome probably comes from elements of, depending on how you grew up, what your parents were like, what environment you kind of grew up in. I think for me, and again, that's where I'm very lucky that my business mentors kind of helped me through that. And what she always says is, okay, show me the evidence. Show me the evidence that you're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, show me the evidence that you're not the expert in your field. Show me the evidence where this isn't working. Show me the evidence where what you're putting out there is not needed by the client. Show me the evidence that you're really bad at what you're doing, or that people hate what you're doing, if that's what you're thinking. And that's always been. We were literally on a call with her today, and she was going, "Okay, I'm in a court of law, so show me the evidence, guys." And we all just kind of went, "Yeah, okay." And it's such a great question. And when you start trying to find the evidence of why you either think that you are not good enough, or why you shouldn't be launching that product in market, or that your customers aren't wanting what you're needing, or whatever it is that you're working through, go and find the evidence of why why that is the case. And I guarantee you won't find it, and you'll find the
Yeah,
opposite. And
that's
I
a
think
great,
that's
great
definitely
question.
what I've done is I've gone back and gone, okay, Sab, show me the evidence. Like, where is it?
That's an amazing question. So there's a few things there for me. I think, like you, I have a coach as well. I have various mentors who I call upon every now and again to pick their brains. But they don't know they're my mentors, but they definitely are. So I would say to everyone, get yourself a coach. Have some really great mentors around you who you can talk to. And yeah, that is such a great question because we all tell stories, don't we? When we're feeling under threat, it's the natural fight, flight, freeze response, isn't it? And then we'll add stories to it to justify why we're feeling the way we're feeling. And all of a sudden, we're creating this narrative that just isn't real. So that's a great question. The one thing I do as well to add to that, and I speak about this a lot, but it's my favorite technique, and I share it a lot with the people I work with. It's called an after action review. And it's based on, well, originally it was based on 3 questions, but I've added a 4th. And the after action review is just about asking these 4 questions. What is working well? Because there'll always be something. What isn't working well? What can you do differently or better? And what do you need to be able to do it differently or better?
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal because it's very objective. You take away the subjectivity. It's just based on pure evidence, pure facts. And then it helps you come up with a really good action. And if you turn that into a smart action, so something specific, measurable, time bound, etc., you can then put something in place to do something about it. And if anyone wants to know more about this, I wrote a blog about how barbecue, get this, Sabrina, how barbecue can make you a better leader. And it's all about how to use the after action review. And it's a true story. I won't give it all away, but a couple of New Year's Eves ago, I barbecued a brisket, like 18 hours, this thing, like huge investment, and it was a complete and utter disaster. And my darling wife, Pam, your cousin, in her wisdom, and it really annoys me because she doesn't even know she's doing it. That's why she's so brilliant. She said, "So what did go well?" And I said, "Oh, the first bit." "What didn't go well?" "Oh, that bit." "What could you do differently then?" "That bit." And then oh my God, after action review. Gave her a big kiss, love you, ran off, started writing things down. And I was like, oh, sometimes she really annoys me because she doesn't even know she's doing it. And then to cut a long story short, I did it again a couple of weeks later, and it was absolutely perfect. But I thought I was the worst barbecuer in the world, and that I was never going to barbecue ever again. And it's my favorite thing to do. Um,
That's
but you can
hilarious.
apply that lesson to so many different things, whether it's running a business, whether it's a project, and whether it's being a leader, whether it's how you are as a team. After every significant thing you do, or if something's not going quite well, do an after action review. So, okay, so what is going well? What
Yeah.
isn't going well? What can we do
Yeah.
differently or better, and what do we need to be able to do that? And also, where is the evidence? And I promise you, you'll come up with some great solutions.
Yeah, 100%. And look, from one thing that I've started to do is definitely journaling as well. So that's
Oh, so
definitely
many
helped.
people do telling me that.
Yeah, it's really, I was really kind of like, really? It's a bit kind of, is this going to
Yeah,
work? It's a
same.
bit kind of woo woo. I'm not on board. I'm a bit skeptic in that kind of respect, but I just started doing it, and it's more of a, and again, it's one thing that we do on a kind of weekly basis that I do kind of with my mentor is just writing down your wins, and it's really amazing how
Yeah.
you just, because the weeks are so busy and you are so busy, you're doing, you're making, 50,000 decisions during the day, you're solving problems, you're fighting fires, you're causing fires potentially, but it's when you actually stop, like, and you don't have to do it like every week. It's one of those things that I probably do like every 2 weeks, where it's literally a case of going, okay, what were the over the last, fortnight, what were my wins that I actually got across the line? And that's been amazing just to stop and reflect. And I think it's unfortunate because of the we're always accessible on our phones, and we're always available to people, and I think that unfortunately, again, because of COVID, has made it a little bit more of a pressure for business owners and leaders to not switch off. And I think that's so important, and it's so important for your mental health as well as your business growth. You cannot run on an empty tank, but you also can't run with no kind of energy or excitement. So when you sit there and you actually write down your wins, however many they are, there might be 3, there might be 10, it's just such a great reflection piece to go, I actually did
Yeah.
achieve something over the last 2 weeks. Like, this is amazing. And so I think that's really important as well. Just to kind of, yeah, just give some time for yourself as a leader and as a business owner. Give your time that space to kind of reflect, and also just really celebrate your wins, because I don't think enough people do that.
No, 1,000,000%, and I'm one of them. I couldn't agree more with that. I couldn't agree more. And I think probably nearly every single episode we've had so far, self-reflection has come up. And
Yeah.
that's not a coincidence. It is so important, everyone, to give yourself that time for that reflection. And yeah, those wins, that's really important, because no doubt, like me, Sabrina, you can, because you're so busy in the day to day, you're just one thing to the next, aren't you? And then
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah.
get bogged down. It starts feeling heavy, and you can't start wondering, oh my God, why am I doing this? Is it all worth it? And I think it's really important to remember those wins. And in fact, this happened to me only last week or the week before. Can't remember, but it was kind of one, a period of time where you're just going from one thing to the next. You're really busy, and it's kind of feeling kind of heavy.
Yeah.
And I went and delivered a workshop for a client, and they very kindly sent me some feedback. Even thinking about it now, it kind of it fills me up with so much gratitude. And there was like 16 people on this workshop that I delivered, and every single one of them, well, most of them, but had written a piece of feedback for me. And just like you earlier, when I was complimenting you on your values and stuff, it was really hard to read. And I showed Pam, and she went, "Oh my God, that's amazing." She went, "See, you are good at what you do. You do make a difference."
You know what you're
Sometimes,
talking about.
yeah, and sometimes we just need to remember that, because I'm not, yeah, I need to earn a living, but I'm not in this to earn millions of pounds. I'm honestly doing this to make a difference to people, and to create awesome leaders, amazing teams, and great learning professionals, and great organizations. That's what I want to help create, because I think that'll help create a better world. And it's sometimes really nice just to hear that, A, it's appreciated, but B, you are on the right track. And yeah, being able to just stop and give yourself that, and it's not being egotistical and big headed, just to give
No.
yourself that little pat on the back and go, yeah, do you know what? I'm doing all right in a minute.
Yeah, and that's why, again, I think when you say, like, it's really important for you to have really strong, supportive people around you, be that as a business mentor, as your partner, whoever that person is, because again, when you're the buck stops with you as the business owner, you've got no one above you. Like, you've got no one to be accountable to a degree. It's all with you, and that's a lot for some organizations and some people. So to have those people to go, okay, so I've been thinking about this, where I'm feeling like this, and then again, you can just feed off them. And I think it's really
Totally.
important to have people to really kind of support you through that, because I don't think you should ever do business alone. Don't think it's healthy for your mindset.
It's not.
But also from you can't grow. Like you need other people to, you
Yeah,
know,
couldn't agree more.
brainstorm those ideas with. And that's why I love like what I do with the business collective. It's literally like we have like 21 people in one of our groups, and we're literally sitting around and going, how's stuff with you? What are you feeling like? What have you noticed over
That's
the last couple
amazing.
of weeks? And just have those honest conversations. And look, if there's anything, business networking here is quite huge. If there's anything local where you can do that as a business to just hold space for people to come together, I think is really important. And people, especially when you're in business or you're a solopreneur, you're normally working from home on your own. So you don't have that human connection as well. So I think that's really important to get
It
out
is.
there and go and meet some people. Yeah, and
It
hear from
is.
others in different industry sectors.
Yeah, do you know what? And I absolutely hate networking, Sabrina. I hate it. In fact, I don't do it a lot anymore. In the early years of my business, I did it a lot, and I've been to some shocking networking events.
Yeah.
Do you know the kind that are either like at 6 in the morning with a
Yeah.
breakfast, people just walk up to you and give you their business card and then talk all about themselves,
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
sell
It's
you
pretty
something.
hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of things. And there's a lot of those here in the UK. But you know what? Honestly, I've never come across, or I don't think I've come across or heard of one quite like that. If that was in the UK, I'd be there all the time.
Yeah. Like
We should
again,
totally set
like
that up here.
yeah, maybe I should come over and like set one up.
You
But
should.
it's all about, for me, it's all about community over competition. So it's really
I
about
love
kind of
that.
getting together with local, and it's all about local people. So we have like, I live in a town called Tiaratu, or like it's Tiaratu Peninsula. It's actually a suburb over here. But and so we have a Tiaratu business collective. I then travel up to a coastal town called Orewa, which is just kind of north of Auckland, with my son, because he does a forest school every Thursday. I'll literally be doing that tomorrow. And so we've got one there, and it literally is us sitting around. We're doing, there's some structure to it where we're doing a very quick, 60-second introduction. And that's more because the more you hear about what people are doing, the more it cements it in your mind.
Yeah.
And not, pushy over the referrals. Here's your business card, make sure we connect. It's more just about let's get together as a collective. We're all business owners. What are we seeing out there in the market? Let's have an honest discussion around that and just really kind of connect and grow.
That's
And
great.
because it's so natural and organic, the referrals will naturally come. And like
Yes,
even
I agree.
now, like I've literally just launched a new one only, like literally a month ago. And even now, those collaborations are happening because it's such a natural, non-pressure,
Yeah,
hot
wow.
pot kind of environment. It's all just about getting together. Yeah, you should definitely set one up under your own brand over there. I can
What a
guarantee
breath
you
of
would.
fresh air. Wow.
Yeah,
I would definitely go to that. I would definitely. That
yeah.
sounds amazing. Where do going just quickly going back to the whole giving yourself a minute to celebrate the wins, reflection. Where do you sit with the whole, gratitude thing and making sure you bring in that gratitude piece? Where do you sit with that?
It's interesting. It's one of I've definitely struggled with it because again, it has that element of not necessarily like, oh, I should be sitting and be very grateful for all I have. Like it just feels a little bit kind of a little bit false and a little bit pushed for me. But at the same time, for me, it's kind of more of a case of I think I more tend to the thankfulness than the gratitude.
Oh, okay.
So I normally use that word where I'm very thankful that I'm able to support these businesses. I'm very
Yeah.
thankful that I've been given a platform that I can obviously, host and do these kind of, business networking events. I'm very thankful to be able to have the amazing team that I've got, and for their trust and loyalty in me as well, and what we're doing. So I think I tend to more that word than the gratitude word. I don't know why.
What?
It's obviously just my
You
own
know,
little
I
nuance.
agree. I agree with you actually, because I'm just thinking I don't do it nearly enough, but when I do it, it really helps me. It just helps shift my mindset. But
Yeah.
thinking about it, when I do it, and it's very simple for me. It's just a few moments where I'm as present and as deeply present as I can possibly be. If I actually think about it, that's exactly the same word I use. Thankful. I don't use grateful at all, gratitude at all. It's thankful. because do you know what? I'm never going to do anything other than what I do ever again. And I will probably do it to my dying day. I want to help leaders and teams and organizations and fellow trainers and coaches and facilitators just to be better for themselves,
Yeah.
for the people they serve. It's who I am. It's what I am. And I think, sometimes remembering that and to be really thankful, and I 1,000,000% agree with that word, for that, I think is really, really important, because running a business, running a team, being a leader is tough. It's so hard. It really is hard. And again, I think just that self-reflection piece, sometimes it's important to just remember why you started in the first place, and to be thankful for being able to do it. I think it's really
Yeah,
important.
100%. And look, and that's what's going to get you through those hard times is, when you are getting to a point where you've gone, okay, things haven't gone the way that I planned. Things aren't, the business isn't where I want it to be at this stage. I've had some, staffing issues or client issues or servicing, issues, whatever it is that you're kind of struggling with. I think just to kind of stop and go, right, why was I doing this in the first place? What was my passion behind this?
Yeah,
And, it's the whole thing of everyone talks about like, what's your why? I think I look more of a, what was the driver behind you launching this? Why did this business come into fruition?
nice way
Where
of
was
looking
the
at it.
need that you saw that you could fill? What was the skill set that you could provide to help others? Because that's what we're all really in a business of, is providing either a product or a service that's going to help other people. And so, why were you doing that in the first place? And just really kind of going back to those basics, and not overcomplicating it. And I think that the moment you start breaking that down, then that's a real benefit. And it definitely has gotten me through the difficult times and the hard times. And look, yes, you need processes in your business, and you need good terms, and you need all that gorgeous contracts and all that kind of stuff. But that's all the fluff for me. That's more of a, your passion behind it is what's going to drive it forward.
Yeah, I couldn't
And
agree more with that.
it's also going to make people want to work with you as well, both clients and your
Yeah.
and team members.
You've just reminded me of something else as well, Sabrina, particularly since I've been in business, but I've always believed this, that I fundamentally believe that whether you're a business owner or working for a company or a leader or part of a team or whatever, is that we are all in the business of people. And because of that, everything we do has to be about people and for the good of other people. Where do you sit with that?
100%. And look, that's what my whole entire business is really kind of revolving around, where people, as in my team, who have an amazing skill set that can offer that to people, i.e., other businesses that don't have that, in order for them to be able to promote their product or service to their people. So it's this
Exactly.
constant kind of, it's like a pebble in a pond, it just keeps going. And look, as humans, again, COVID showed that we need that connection. We're here for each other. And although, yes, there's some pretty horrible things happening in the world, the underlining elements, there's still that connection, love, compassion, passion for people to be doing better still out there. And I think that's where we see humans really thriving. And that's where you can see some amazing people doing some amazing work. And to be a little part of that journey, however big or small, that kind of businesses, for me is just, I'm very thankful. There it is again. I'm very thankful for that kind of opportunity to be able to help them and kind of give back. I've been very fortunate in my life. I've had a great upbringing. I've got amazing parents. I've had great education. I'm living on the other side of the world. I've managed to do that. Great family here. And so yeah, just very thankful to have all of that and be able to go and help others.
It's an honor,
So yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
quite exciting.
It's an honor for me. It's an honor and a privilege, and it'll be the biggest honor and the privilege of my life doing what I do. And just going back to the thing about people, yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. But I think what's going on in the world, there are some parts of the world and some elements within the world that are forgetting that we're all in the business of people. And when you forget that, you get what we're experiencing, don't you? which is complete, and it's just and without being political, it's just insanity. It's nonsense. And we're seeing right before our very eyes is that when you don't make it all about people and for the good of people, and you don't come together, instead you force things apart, what's going on in the world right now is what you'll end up with.
Yeah. And look, you started a business to obviously make money. And anyone that says any different, they might be in a
Yeah, of
different
course.
organization. But yeah, yes, it's about people. But yes, you do obviously need to have that revenue coming in. Otherwise, you don't have a sustainable business. But it
Exactly.
shouldn't be all about the money. It should be about the benefit, the what are you giving to that person? And obviously at the moment we're seeing that it, as you say, it's not about the people, it is about the money. And so that's where you can see that disconnect just happening and
Yeah.
people are just going, wait a minute, that's not right. And I don't think us as people can even connect to that. I definitely can't. If I meet anybody that is needing assistance, but it's just financially not possible, we will work a way round to be able to help them, because it's all about, you can see the need, you can see where you can help. And I think that's really important to kind of hold on to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I couldn't agree more. So, what's your biggest challenge being a leader?
That's a good question. It's my biggest
It's what it's,
challenge
it's,
being.
it's what I do, Sabrina.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say you're pretty good at what you do. What's my biggest challenge? I'm actually a little bit stumped. I'm kind of thinking, what is my biggest challenge as a leader? I think it's just kind of making sure that I'm supporting the team without micromanaging. I'm definitely not a micromanager. I've had that done to me. It's just not nice. From a business perspective, I think the challenge is really at the moment just us getting through this economic downturn, and just obviously seeing and hopefully seeing, businesses kind of coming back to that thriving part. But yeah, from a leader, what's the challenge? Can I send a postcard of answers on a postcard to that
You
one?
can,
It's
you
quite
can,
interesting, hey?
and do you know what? I almost asked it as a reflection, as a rhetorical
Yeah.
question, because I would like all of our listeners and viewers to be able to think about that question. What is your biggest challenge as a leader, and how are you? I think for me, overcoming it, but still making sure you don't forget about the people you're serving, the people you're leading, your customers, your team, etc., etc. So yeah, you can, and I'd love to know your answer. So we always finish up the podcast with something called the Living Your Learning podcast Ponder Point. So this is something that we give our listeners and viewers to go away and think about. It could be a top tip, it could be a challenge, whatever. So just based on what you do and what you believe in, or even maybe some of our discussions today, what would you like your LYL podcast ponder point to be? What are you going to leave our listeners and viewers with?
Well, you're really dropping me right in the kind of the heat, aren't you? What would be a good ponder point? I think for me, I would ask people, where are they showing up and where are they not showing up that they should be? That could both be with your team, but also with your clients and also as a business. So I definitely realized that I'd done the networking. I stopped doing the networking and I shouldn't have. And so I needed to show up again in that regard. One of my kind of plans for this year is about raising my voice, which is why I'm showing up more in different locations, like doing this with you and different kind of webinars and stuff. So yeah, I would really kind of ask people like, where are you showing up where it's working? And it's kind of going back to the questions that I guess you had. And then where are you showing up, or where should you be showing up that you're not? But there could be an opportunity for you to kind of be part of. And as I said, that could be with your business or with your team.
Yeah, that's really good, because you can put so many contexts on that, either as a leader, as a business owner, with your team, with your clients. Yeah, that's great. I love that. That's an amazing ponder point, Sabrina. I think my ponder point, based on what we talked about today, I might have a couple, and I'm going to try and merge them. So I think, really think about your values, your non-negotiables, and how you bring those to life, because in everything that you do, because it really makes a difference. And, for me, those values, as those non-negotiables, are almost decision filters. They're filters through which we make decisions about what we do and how we do it. So that would be part A of my ponder point. The part B of my ponder point is the stuff that you were talking about,
Yeah.
you know, adapting, tweaking, trying again, getting up, dusting yourself down, going again, going again. Those iterations of the plan, that's really powerful. And I think that's powerful for whoever you are, whether you're a leader, a business owner, whether you're a team, an organization. And particularly at the moment, that resilience thing is so, so important because it will make the difference between those who stick around and those who don't, I think.
100%. Yeah, and again, it's that whole this too shall pass. So don't beat yourself up if it's not working. It's okay, but at the same time, be aware that if you're on a high and it's going really really well, just know that you might have a little bit of a downturn potentially, and it's
Yes.
not in a scary way. It's just it's that whole make hay while the sun shines, store it up for when it's not such a great period of your business. And yeah, just understand that business isn't linear. It is an absolute flow, and a kind of a natural kind of progression as you go through it.
Yeah. And as long as you keep laying the seeds, whilst it might be a bit trophy, it will still be in an upward trend.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just keep that consistency up, both from a social media posting and your thought provoking pieces, maybe on LinkedIn, but also with your clients' communication and your services that you're offering, and with your team and all of that kind of stuff. Just keep being consistent and keep laying those seeds, because trust me, it does really come back, and it does come to fruition for you.
It does. Wow. And on that amazing piece of advice,
How did
Sabrina.
that hour go past? That was so
Oh,
quick.
it's crazy, isn't it? I think we'll wrap things up there. So, everyone, listeners, viewers, whatever channel you're listening and viewing on, we really hope you enjoyed that as much as myself and Sabrina did. Please give us a like, follow, subscribe, and so we can get this conversation out to as many people as we possibly can. And yeah, just thank you again, Sabrina, for being a special guest on our special guest sessions. Such great advice, such amazing tips, such authenticity as well. Absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed that. So thank you so much for your time. We'll definitely get you on again soon.
Oh, no, absolutely. And look, thank you guys for making this space and holding this space for people to come and talk to you. Because I think the more that we hear from others, the better
Yes.
we all are. But also for everything that you guys are doing. Like, yes, I'm in New Zealand, but look, I've been a long time listener, first time caller. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
And so look, I see what all of you guys are doing, and what you're doing is amazing. So just
Thank
keep up
you.
the amazing work.
It's my turn to be embarrassed now. Thank you, Sabrina. I really appreciate that. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. And we will see you again next time. See you later, everyone.